views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Let's go bring back some memories.
This morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It's Monday the 12th of December 2022 and it's Junkanoo time. Me and my producer, we in a war right now. I tell him it's music all week leading up to Christmas. And he say, bet. Every time I tell him I got a song for him to play, he say, I got a better one and it's Junkanoo and we playing it. And I love it because it's Junkanoo time and I appreciate that. I need you all to know something. I can lay some heavy critique at the feet of the Junkanoo community. I'm going to lay some heavy critique at the feet of the government actors that are responsible for making sure the Junkanoo community not just has what it wants, but it is able to regulate itself. I going to critique them. Why? Because I'm from the greatest scrap group in the history of the world, the Spirit. We are the best. And I say that except for the pigs and the Methuselahs. I mean, I think maybe they are the best, right? But then we next. This is important. If you love it, you got to love it. You got to make yourself a part of it. If you love it, it got to be important to you. And you got to be willing to about it. And if we say we love Junkanoo, if we want other people to acknowledge the place that Junkanoo holds in our lives, historically, presently, and the space that it can hold and carve out for us individually and collectively in the future, then we got to be open to having the hard conversations about it and about everything. And so, in that vein, I want to say good morning to the newest Junkanoo group out there, the Immortals in the B group category. Welcome. I can be honest. I don't know if the Junkanoos could appreciate me saying, welcome to Bay. Right? But welcome. We're glad to have you. I mean, we thought there would have been a little bit more room because I didn't think the Valley Boys was coming back, right? But the more the merrier. The more the merrier. Welcome the Immortals, the new Junkanoo group in the B category. I think they from Yellow Elder side. I think they from all around Yellow Elders. You know that mean that could be sweet. People in Yellow Elder like to be drum, buddy. Anyway, I'm very excited. I got a text to say, who is the Spirit? The Spirit is the greatest scrap group in the history of Junkanoo white people and the whole world. Except for the pigs and the Methuselahs, I tell you. I can't take that away from them. That's who we are. The Spirit. The text said, who are the Immortals? Well, I think y'all going to find out. I think y'all going to find out this Boxing Day who the Immortals are. And they bringing it. Let me see something. There's like layers to this thing. And it's important that all of the layers sort of can come together and meld, and blend. When you talk to ordinary people in the Junkanoo group, they are the group. See, you ask me, like, why Erin feel like she could be a part of every conversation. Because this is my country. And that's what the Spirit, the Junkanoos bring. See, we got to figure out how to harness Junkanoo. Our guy Finlayson has done a good job, Junkanoo in the workplace, right, of extracting labor models from the Junkanoo space, understanding that Bahamians and people in Bahamians will naturally sort of evolve, right? They'll naturally start doing things the way they like to do them. And there's a lot more that we can extract from this collective and individual Junkanoo experience to inform, in particular, younger Bahamians on how they can navigate the Bahamas and the world. But that spirit, buddy, I pray every Bahamian feels as proud of themselves individually and collectively as Junkanooers feel about their work and their group and the other members of their group. That is important for us as a Bahamian experience. Now, it is Monday, December the 12th, and Village Road. Dear Press Secretary, I hope you didn't put any bets on December 12th, because Village Road, I think the old people used to say it looked like under tobacco dove arm. That's what it looked like. It ain't ready. It ain't close to ready. I don't think it's going to be done by the end of December either, and not substantially done. I just don't see it happening. And so I don't know if I'm going to keep that on my list of reasons why Alfred Sayers should resign. Because but long ago, I suggested that this project is more like somewhere between February 23rd and February 23rd. I don't know how we're gonna manage. Anyway, but when I first called for the resignation of Alfred Sayers, I never imagined the fuel hedge debacle, quote unquote, that is unfolding. Mind you, that the Davis administration announced the fuel surcharge increase before IRCA had actually approved it was an indicator that there were issues. But I never imagined this. I was concerned about a number of issues that I want to talk about today. Things that would require the resignation of any good, decent minister, but not this. But I think, mind you, the most important question at this point is, has this reached Desmond Bannister proportions yet? Has this reached Desmond Bannister proportions yet? And I think that, of course, is the most important question. And then second to that is it unfair to call for Sayers' resignation if you all refuse to make Desmond Bannister resign from his position as Minister of Works during the last administration? Now, this is not a tit for tat. This is not if we didn't make the FNM minister resign, then why you want the PLP minister to resign? This is not that. This is an attempt to set a standard. When should a minister resign? Well, there's the Village Road project. Now, I know the Honorable Mr. Sayers wasn't actually out there working the project himself, but surely somebody should have a better sense of a timeline for the project. Is it the road works? We got a couple stories on that today. From last week, government will carry out road works on 50 roads over the next 2 years. Officials say, I want to read from that. Is it the water crisis in Eleuthera? They had another article, Water and Sewerage Chair says government disappointed with Aqua design. Has IRCA approved the fuel surcharge increase? I mean, I think this is technically this is important. Technically this is important. Is it hurricane season, 2022 season preparation or lack thereof? Is it that? Right? Will it be public infrastructure maintenance? Is that the issue that he should resign on? And we're going to get into all of that. So here's another headline, last week's Guardian. Sears backtracks after repeatedly saying he had no knowledge of requests made by the Bahamas Power and Light Fuel Hedge Committee for certain trades to be executed last fall to lock in oil prices. Minister, for the first time yesterday, publicly acknowledged that he had in fact received emails making those requests. Stick a pin. Now, all the publications I've read over the last few days, including this morning, they've insisted on using this language that Alfred says misled Parliament, and I think by extension the Bahamian people. And so one of the questions we have to ask is, before we ask, should he resign from quote-unquote misleading Parliament, did he mislead or did he intentionally mislead Parliament? Now, I beat up on politicians, and I know there's a couple of y'all out there right now saying, see, I tell you she's a PLP. I tell you she's a PLP. She ain't going hard enough on Sears. But I think this is an important point, and I can tell you why. You know, people in the 3-10 gang and approaching it have bad memories. Like, I want to know if we are ready to acknowledge that the vast majority of people leading our country, they are in a category that is prone to memory loss. And we've seen over successive administrations the predilection, the trend, right? Like almost like an excitement. I do not recall. I cannot remember. Old people that say that. And they say it with impunity. Like, hey, you remember when you borrowed $100 from me? I don't remember that. Why do you think I can remember that? So the question is, did Mr. Sayers intentionally mislead Parliament? A, and B, should he then resign? No, let's rephrase that. B, should he resign regardless of whether it was an intentional act or not? I got some text here. First text, it's all about a standard. It's never personal. It's always business. It's about a standard, and we expected better of Alfred Sayers. He is a professor. He's too intelligent for this, so he should resign. But I can tell you, that's one of the reasons why I was prepared to call for his resignation early in the game. I wasn't serious, you know. Sort of like these politicians. I wasn't serious. I thought maybe that would spur him to stepping up, because we do expect more from him. Okay. Good morning. This is off topic. Dear environmentalists, anybody from DEPP, Department of Environmental Planning and Protection, if you are listening, this text is for you. This is off topic. Someone is cutting down trees in the area of JFK behind the old Imperial Mattress Company that burned down. The corner by the school. Would appreciate if you could please say on air which department is responsible for monitoring this. Thank you. So, Ministry of the Environment, Ministry of Works, I think, should get involved. They should always be involved. In fact, even if they're not involved, they should be like, but anytime you get a call like this, call us. We should be there. You know what I'm saying? That's how we expect y'all to be waking. Not unless they call, why do we have to move? And even if they call, maybe we don't have to answer the phone. Let's shift that. Let's shift that. Another text. Dear Miss Greene, please stop entertaining these ministers with the notion that they are not the contractors and they are not the PS. Nonsense talks. When successes rain down, they never want to give praises to these contractors nor permanent secretaries. No, Texter, what I said was, I don't expect Mr. Sayers to be in the road digging the ditch, but I expect greater attention to these projects. See, Another story in today's Guardian. We'll segue in a second to this headline, 4 more traffic deaths. Great show as usual. I don't think says should resign because he never sent an email from his old iPad and you get a new iPad and the person responded to you on the old iPad. At the same time, the texter says, Mr. Says should just get up and say I old and I can't remember, and perhaps we would give him a bly. Another text says he should resign. Surely he can lie better than that. That's what the text say, not what I say. Another text. Yeah, Minister of Work turned out to be a big disappointment. Nothing but a failure. We expected better. He's too smart for this. He believe we stupid. Fire now. Another text. I think people are missing the point. The fact still remains the hedge was denied by the Ministry of Finance. Dear texter. It's a good point. Another text. Good morning. There's a lot of fraud going on in the Bahamas. Okay. Dear texter. I can't read that on the air right now. The text says he shouldn't resign on that point, that the hedge was actually denied by the Ministry of Finance. And then the texter said, no, for real, fire him now. Okay. All right. So let's stick on that for a second. Like I said, I wanted to read this headline, 4 more traffic deaths. It is very sad news. Over the weekend, over the past 2-3 days, we had a traffic fatality, I think, in Grand Bahama. And then we had a traffic fatality in New Providence. And then there were 2 traffic fatalities in Eleuthera over the weekend. I'm trying to be very sensitive right now. I don't want anybody to accuse me of gloating or saying something like, I told you so. But I think the policymakers who are paying attention can see clearly now that if we had paid attention to the pennies, excuse me, the pounds would have taken care of themselves. If we start paying attention to the small things, we wouldn't have to deal with the big things. See, this leads back to the Minister of Works again. Public infrastructure maintenance. And the question is, are bad road conditions and poor or non-existent lighting and signage a major contributor to traffic accidents and fatalities? Right? There's also a question, maybe the minister is not entirely responsible. Is a lack of police enforcement a major contributor? And I just need the Royal Bahamas Police Force to understand that you came out with an entire press conference to tell us that despite your prior announcements or the lack of clarity within them, that we are, in fact, are only able to turn left on red on lights with the proper signage. See, y'all can never enforce that again. You ain't gonna never be able to enforce it. It's too late. See, now you have people who turn red regularly at the Shirley and Mackey intersection. Every single light cycle, they refuse to stop their car. Even as you entering the intersection on your green light, they do it in the red plate. That's the government plate. That's public service members whose vehicles can be traced back to them very easily. They do it in company vehicles. They do it in the taxis. Every single light cycle. And don't let it be a livery plate. Don't let it be a fancy taxi. They doing it, buddy. The best part is they do it in vehicles that have clear labels on it and identifiers so you could call their office and say, hey, do you know what your employees are doing in your company vehicle and the potential consequence in regards to your insurance for your professional enterprise? Y'all play too much. Public infrastructure and road works. Should the minister resign because the Ministry of Public Works cannot figure out how to properly inspect work done by subcontractors? See, I got an article here on the road works, and it talks about a bit about the pothole. See some lovely numbers here. Ministry officials were unable to provide a budget. That's for the Gladstone Road, that's for the 50 road work over the next 2 years. They were unable to provide a budget, but Bahia Hepburn, an engineer, said the ministry has patched holes in almost 2,000 locations over the last 5 months. She estimated that 340 holes are patched monthly. So they estimate that they have patched holes in almost 2,000 locations in the last 5 months, and that they are at an estimate of 340 holes a month, which suggests to me that potholes have a higher birth rate than rabbits. Because y'all patching a whole bunch of holes, but if you have seen New Providence, is a whole bunch of holes. Every day, I got to find Priscilla Rollins to write a new song for me. Let me put a pin in that for a second and get back to that. Pothole inspections. Good morning, caller. You on the clock?
Good morning, Miss Greene. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Sparky. How you doing?
You know what? I also have a problem with it. I try my best to avoid the potholes because I've had many times where I got to change the CV joint, the idle arms, the arms of the arm and connect the tire to the rim and all that kind of thing. But it's not only the potholes, you know. You ever notice when they fixing the hole or they doing something, but they leave these things with the iron grill in the hole, what we call the barn hole. But that's at least 3 inches underneath the surface of the road. You don't think that they could find some way to maybe put some net on that, mark the spot with a big cycle or something, but they have to go back and go in there and repair something. And bring it up level to the tar road so we don't have to be hitting the edge of our tubes and our rims up again. That's iron, you know.
Absolutely. Yes, Sparky, I would you.
That only the potholes. Now, the potholes we know, to get all the potholes, we need to pave the whole street.
Right, see, because the government could say, but I don't cause the pothole. Like, why are you blaming me, Miss Greene? I ain't dig the hole in the road. But there's some public infrastructure that you are supposed to be controlling, right?
So
like,
what I'm saying is, you get that, okay, the foreman or the manager or the product, what they call the project manager, who got to come out every day to check see if the job has been completed. He can't say, listen, guys, it's 3 inches lower than the surface of the road.
Thank you, Sparky.
Can we either bring it up level with the road, or we cover it up until we need to go to work there again?
Listen, I want to know, where are the inspectors at the Ministry of Public Works? What are they doing? First of all, I'm insulted that you're going to suggest to me that I got to call you and tell you where the pothole is. I mean, I don't mind helping out, you know. I don't mind that. But why I got to call you? First of all, your inspectors should be on the road constantly. You're like just road anyway. Why you could just do some work while you're just roading? Secondly, why do y'all keep hiring the same subcontractors? The work is not very good. FYI, there's a hole at Jerome and Chesapeake on the east side of the intersection on Chesapeake. It is a trench. The road there is sort of well lit. I still came upon it unexpectedly. Then there's a lack of proper lighting. So even though you ain't supposed to be speeding on the, listen, I need you all to understand how this thing is working. We're going to stick a pin because I got a caller. Good morning, caller. You on the clock.
Hey, good morning, Erin. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's a Junkanoo Monday. How you doing?
Hey, feeling Junkanoo-ish.
Good, good.
Listen, talking about lighting, it brought to my mind, I was the other day on the first part of the road on Albany.
Uh-huh.
You know, we were heading out, and I said to my husband, I said, listen, how do you know when this road comes to an end? Because the road is, when I say pitch black,
Yeah.
it's pitch black.
That's Frank Watson Boulevard?
It's the one that leads from Adelaide Road on to Frank Watson Boulevard.
That's
That
something.
one.
Yeah,
Both
okay.
of them are dark, mind you. But
Yep.
that one in particular is the first one.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to them. I said, how do you know when this road comes to an end? And just how I said that, I saw whoosh,
Mm-hmm.
a car fly past and going straight over, all way back now from where we were. So he said, that's how you know the road comes to an end. That car just going through the bush.
Wow.
And so we was driving a very big truck, so we had to drive there, use that huge truck to put that. There's an entire family on their way to church, run straight across.
Yeah.
Because there's no lighting. There's one or two little poles there with some fluorescent on it, but you can't hardly see them because they're so low.
See, if you don't go nowhere, I just got to say this right now. Y'all remember the death on Munnings Road? And
Yes.
how it became politicized?
Yes.
And as opposed to us focusing on the policy and what is required of all of the stakeholders and actors involved,
Yes.
that the government has an obligation to ensure that the roads are not just well maintained, but properly lit and have the correct signage where necessary.
Exactly.
See,
and
if go on.
that there is perfect example, because I was supposed to call and mention it to you because, you know, I'm like you. Traffic and all this stuff, they are pet peeve for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at the end of the day, I think some sort of lighting should be there to indicate to you, listen here, this road is coming to an end.
Yeah.
I mean, that entire family could have died that night.
Just
'Cause when
like
I
their
say through the
political
bush,
career.
They
Sorry,
had to
that's
double the rope
my thoughts.
to go all the way through, to tie it onto their car and try to drag them out back over all those trees that they knocked down. Thank God the trees, they weren't huge.
Yeah.
You understand? I think that's the only thing that saved them, because if they'd hit a big tree with that speed,
It was
they
finished.
that was an entire family would have been gone.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody would have taken responsibility, you know, but we are not proactive, we are reactive.
Yes.
And that's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. You see, because that's the next question. Y'all know y'all drive bad. It's not a question. Y'all know you drive bad. You know you're speeding. You know the speed limit in the city is 25. Did y'all know that once you pass over Mackey Street on Shirley Street, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour? Did you know that? Bet y'all didn't know that. Y'all just drive bad. Y'all don't take anything seriously. Nothing on the road. Right? That's a big part of it. But never forget, like our Jewish brothers and sisters, that the government has responsibilities. And so, when I make a joke like, has it reached Desmond Bannister proportions? Did the minister responsible for works resign after it was shown clearly that the road that the woman died on, when she hit a barrier that was placed in the road, was not properly lit, did not have proper signage? Did that happen? Now, I'm not saying that Sayers shouldn't resign. In fact, I'm not actually here to determine whether he should resign or not. What I'm saying is, let us create a standard, because y'all have legal obligations to the people. And if you're going to insist that we pay you a globally acceptable salary, then we are going to demand globally accepted work. Got a call on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Greene.
Good morning.
Well, Miss Greene,
Yes,
I
sir.
just passed K Street and Market Street,
Uh-huh.
where the red light is.
Hmm.
So you know they put a speed bump right there to the red light?
That's what they had to do to cause the people to slow down.
Yeah, a speed bump right at the light though. They should have been a little further back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also, Miss Greene, the airport road.
Yeah.
You can't see nothing in the night on that road.
That's what I was sticking a pin for when the caller called talking.
Right, that's it. No, I mean, you will run off the road.
Yeah,
And I talk to many people in the ministry with.
absolutely. Listen, I
No, man, the lights, the roads need to be marked.
yeah, I left the Western Road on Saturday just as the sun was setting. And my whole spirit tell me, get on this road and get off the Western Road as quickly as possible.
Yes, ma'am. But Ms. Greene, if you check one area, it always brighten up now.
Yeah.
It's always just head west, keep heading west.
Uh-huh.
You'll see the pretty lights, you'll think it's Christmas every day around there.
Listen, it appears as if about 3/4 of the lights on JFK are not working. I don't understand
Nothing.
it because these people just go abroad.
Nothing.
They go
You got the
abroad.
signs on the wrong about, they never replace.
Yeah.
A lot of things you have the speed limit.
The
You tell them
reflectors-
the signs are too small.
Yeah.
On a speedway like the airport way. They had big signs on Tony William.
Yeah.
And he called it our road. But can't replace the signs on the airport road.
Yeah.
Because it was a project. And they had to put signs there, but they never put the right signs, the right size signs there, man.
Absolutely. And see, and that's thank you, caller. That's
And you're doing a good job.
thank you, sir. Thank you. And that's it. You see the technicality? You can't just put sign up. It has to be the right sign. It has to be properly lit from both directions. Right? You got to test the sign with the bright lights and the dim lights. The next thing is, who is enforcing the inspection of vehicles and their lights? See, everyone talk about should Sayers resign or not. We don't even have to worry about BPL. I mean, we have to, obviously we're going to die. We have to worry about BPL. But we could have talked about resigning from a long time is the point that I'm making. Right? That's the point that I'm making. But I have to say, when I see this statement from Pintard, and I got to find it. Pintard accused the prime minister, says of throwing the prime minister under the bus. And I just wanted to ask, is this the same Michael Pintard that was in the last FNM administration? I say, I'm not saying we're not titting for tatting. We are not doing that. I just want to do Mr. Pintard a favor and remind him that he also was in the last administration. Producer, let's go to a break so I could find this article by this headline with Mr. Pintard in it. Because, you see, BPL, I would like you all to think. I would like for people to start resigning. They should have been resigning from a long time. They should have been resigning from the FNM administration and probably the PLP administration from before that. And I just want to remind members of this current FNM administration. Governments are continuous. Political parties are not. We get it. But if you have FNM on your shoulder, you should speak very, very carefully about BPL. You ain't making any sense. We're going to a break. We'll be right back.
know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Remember when Zoom was just a sound effect? When your living room wasn't your gym? When a cough didn't scare people away? That was the good old days. And thankfully, they are coming back. As things return to normal, remember it is essential to be fully immunized against all vaccine-preventable diseases like COVID-19, diphtheria, tetanus, measles, and influenza. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Canada, and the United States of America.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Good morning and welcome back. That's the Immortals bringing us back into the show. I ready. In fact, look here. I need to get, producer, I need you to help me we need to get all the big groups. We need to get all the big groups on the radio. We be giving these A groups too much play, man. Just because y'all is the Valley and the Saxons and Genesis and Roots and One Family. And just because y'all are very, very, very good. We gotta get these B groups because they even better, and we gotta get some of these family island groups on as well. Okay, I got a text here. It says, Erin, you just mad because you don't have blinking red lights on your car. Go get you some along with that dash cam and stop ratting people out. Dear Bahamians, I not ratting you out. You ratting yourself out. You know how the drug industry died in this country? Because the people working in it destroyed it through their laziness, ineptitude, lack of patience, lack of discipline, and lack of seriousness. This is serious, people. It's not just that too many lives are lost on the road to reckless driving. It's that lives continue to be disadvantaged. Right? Because we're not running efficient or effective services. We don't understand how economies work, and we don't understand how we individually and collectively are disadvantaged through dysfunctional economies and systems. So while you sitting in your car complaining that you can't get ahead, have you ever thought about how your own recklessness and inattention to traffic systems perpetuating your own downfall? The people almost killed my mother. They killed Brent Johnson. 4 people died this weekend. These are lives of real people. We got to take it more seriously. We should penalize. Okay, no, I don't think he should resign on that point, because it was the Ministry of Finance who didn't follow through on the hedge. It cut the Bahamian people $55 million. He didn't get approval to renew the hedge. Now, for roadworks and accountability, yes, the minister should be held liable. We should penalize shoddy work contractors and not hire them if their work is Shorty. Another text. Good morning. I think Mr. Says, being a lawyer, thought about his statement that he made in Parliament about the hedging letter from BPL. He had sufficient time to fix his misleading statement. Nothing is wrong with his memory when he can refer to rules in Parliament. He just lied outright. Can his words be trusted moving forward? He should resign as a minister. Now listen, let me tell you all how memory is weak. The people them could quote every single scripture from the Bible, but they cannot remember when you lent them $250. And I think it's real. I don't think they lying. I think they just blocked that out their brain. A texter said, potholes, traffic lights not working. The traffic top cop said there is no left turn sign. You cannot turn. Where's the sign? I think there was one sign on University Drive. On University Drive, to turn onto the highway to get to the stadium. You know, you could take the adjunct to Blue Hill Road or turn to the stadium. I think there is one sign there. However, I think that sign was erected long before the law was passed and gazetted. Long before. So perhaps you're right. We maybe cannot attribute that sign to the signage that they're referencing. But that don't, I just need y'all to understand that people don't care. We had 2 cars drive around us to turn left on red this morning. Another text regarding the fuel hedging issue, the silence of those who rapidly support this government is deafening. That's always a good indicator, texter. Just in case y'all don't know how to read politics, that is a good indicator. Another text, it's not up to Says whether he resigns or not. He serves at the pleasure of the PM. No, he serves at the pleasure of the people. Don't you ever forget it. Remember I tell you all our Jewish brothers and sisters constantly reminding us, never forget. Says, I don't blame him for staying put. All right, one last text, and then we're going to get to you. Caller, don't go nowhere. Great show as usual. It's called selective memory, just like how my boss forgot to raise my salary. Producer, if we get to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Good morning.
Sorry to call you back, but did you ever have a situation where you try to call a police station, you dial 4 different numbers and they put in the telephone directory and nobody answering? I called an inspector police who's supposed to be in charge of that Carmichael Road police station. He gave me a number. I called the number and the phone for the last half an hour just ringing and ringing and ringing. You think maybe the police outside on the basketball court playing?
No, man. They out looking for cars. Like they in a car looking for the other cars. But hold on, Sparky.
Right now.
Sparky, I am being rude. Let me rephrase that. What we do know is that the police stations are undermanned. They're under-resourced. And I think that what they need to focus on is creating day-to-day policy that is better suited to the police culture, to encourage greater attention, less stress and overworking, and better management of the system. That's what I meant to say.
Because the inspector told me to call this number 361-0483, and that's the officer in charge. So the officer in charge ain't there. Maybe the rest don't.
No, what happens is that... No, man, what happens is that if, like, they may be having a staff meeting, so they don't have someone to post to answer the officer in charge's phone. They got to just put somebody at the front door who's fielding walk-ins and answering the main phone line.
Oh, okay. I'll drive down there then. Okay.
Okay, but look here, not if your car get break into. Because I appreciate what you're saying, Sparky. Your car ever get break into, you call the police to come dust it for prints and they tell you drive the car to the station? Yeah. That's my favorite part of the exercise. Okay, so we got a couple of minutes left, right? Let's get back into it. Is Says alone responsible for the financial burden placed on the backs of the Bahamian people? Should Science resign for misleading Parliament and by extension the Bahamian people? To be honest with you, I don't care what he says to his fellow parliamentarians. I only care about what he says to me. They could have any kind of pig Latin tit for tat, whatever. They could say whatever they want to say to each other. Because you know they could say anything in the House. It's what you say to me, which is important. Let's go back to Gladstone Road. Will Gladstone Road have shoulders and emergency exits? I mean, and I know some people like, Erin, really? This is one of the most important questions we're going to ask in the 21st century. They are saying that they're going to they call it dualization. That means they're going to turn 2 lanes into 4, right? You still need shoulders. You still need emergency access, right? To like get off and on. Now, a lot of Gladstone Road was swampland, right? Sort of farmy land. What's the plan for flooding and water settling, both on the roads? And what happens to the environment? Where's the environmental impact assessment? Surely you had to get one to be able to complete this process. And what will be the impact on Gladstone Road residents and businesses in terms of shifting landscape, water settling, and flooding? Will Gladstone Road be rezoned? Will unregulated businesses be removed from Gladstone Road? What about the Gladstone Road Farmers Market? What's the plan for that? Because right now, people is apparently be paying $50 a day. It's a 2-day weekend. $50 a day for a tent out there. I already upset at that. But imagine if I got to pay the Ministry of Works to be a part of the farmers market space, then I got to pay a fee for the tents every weekend, and then the traffic to this market is frustrated, not just due to roadworks, but due to the lack of clarity. Signage, detour signs, times around it. I don't have enough time to read from the article. Is it going to be like the Village Road project and we don't know when it going to ever end? Y'all know how long it is take to put up roundabouts. I got a text here. Notice how we are constructing roads but don't have bike lanes, sidewalks, and areas for when you need your shoulder. Yes, texter. I get it. Let's go to this call. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there? Sorry I missed you, caller. Here we get another text. Erin, the street lights are badly wired on East Street and Soldier Road. The light keep blinking orange and green. Caused me to run into a truck yesterday. 2 street lights on the ground this morning, East Street and Soldier Road. Who is responsible for replacing public infrastructure? Is the Ministry of Works supposed to submit an incident report to the police, to road traffic, when public infrastructure is damaged in an accident? And then the person who is held responsible for that accident, are they supposed to pay for the repair of that public infrastructure? Who is inspecting, replacing these things? Thank you for that text. Another text. Morning, Lady Greene. Season's greetings. Let's have street talk. There are too much road problems in the Bahamas. What happened to the road taxes and gasoline fees? Are we really serious? Even environmental taxes. Who will secure the roads of Grand Bahama? From the mayor of Grand Bahama. I ain't even really get on that part of it. Who is paying attention to the Family Islands? I read in this article, I got 2 minutes left. Water and Sewerage Chair says government disappointed with Aqua Design, where the person says, Sylvanus Petty, MP, says, one of the issues that we have with them is they never have their technicians on ground. They never have anyone at the plants. So it's up to water and sewage staff to check these plants and report that the machine is down. Right now, in North Eleuthera, we're operating at 50%. So hold on. Are they not at the plant? They just rodent Eleuthera? Or are they not in Eleuthera at all? And then you got to wait for them to fly down. Anyway, the point The point is this, dear Family Islanders, why? I mean, I know that it takes you all like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to places, right? But do you not see the quality of the roads? Why are you speeding like that? And I hope you all don't have this Nassau disease where you driving with your cell phone in your hand. You know how difficult it is to recognize and determine that is a pothole in front of you or not a pothole in front of you when you're making 65 miles an hour, let alone when you're doing that with a cell phone in front of you. Like, what are we teaching you all in the schools? I know what they're not teaching you in the driving schools. I know that. And maybe that's where we need to start. But we cannot forget that the government, the ministries responsible, actors, their actions or lack of actions also are contributing to the chaos that's on our roads, and it has to be fixed. Anyway, I didn't get to talk about BPL Solar Drive and their target of 30 million consumer savings, or the story government needs to attend to Family Island healthcare. Dear Mr. Darren Henfield. No, didn't. See, they talk about selective memory, bad memory. It's a perfect example of it. Anyway, we got to go. It's that Junkanoo time. You got to give Junkanoo its time. And C.A. Nuri and Guardian Radio AM is up next. You guys stay tuned. Have a great day. The Immortals are coming. They're already here. Have a great day, Bahamas.